Seids arrangements game is on a whole other level, though.
I'm like speechless. That was so good.
And Ryan, he's a great piano player.
But that one like gave me the chills.
That was nice. That ending was really nice.
Hey, it's Ryan from Hooktheory. A couple weeks ago, we released a chart showing the top chords in C major based on over 30,000 songs in the Theory tab database. The reception was really awesome, but one question that we got, that we also get sometimes here at Hooktheory, is generally, how do I use chord data like this to help me in my own songwriting? To help answer this question, we've lined up an all-star cast of songwriters and producers. With us, we have Cameron, aka Venus Theory, Sabrina, aka Seids, and DAMOYEE. Welcome everyone, and thanks so much for being here with us. To begin, I was hoping that you could all tell me just a little bit about your music background, what you like to create, and where users can find you.
I'm Cameron, better known as Venus Theory. I work primarily as a sound designer and music producer. I'm entirely self-taught. I had no idea about anything about theory until I just sort of got really good at being a professional amateur. And I primarily work on YouTube at my YouTube channel, Venus Theory, cleverly named.
Hi, I'm Sabrina, also known as Seids. I've been singing professionally since I graduated Berklee in 2012. Then once COVID hit, I was stuck at home and I decided to learn how to produce music. So now I kind of make a bunch of tutorials on TikTok and Instagram. I still sing gigs in town, make sample packs and whatnot. Just a host of things.
What's up? It's your girl DAMOYEE. I am a musician, composer, producer, singer, songwriter, arranger, and recording artist. I started classically trained at 2 years old, playing piano, and I started studying music theory around the age 4. I have picked up over 15 instruments along the way. I'm pretty active on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch, all under DAMOYEE, and I will be starting up YouTube pretty soon, also under DAMOYEE.
Okay, so let's break down this chart a little bit. What this chart is showing is the most commonly used chords in popular music, transposed here into the key of C major. Chords are categorized in terms of their bass note. Chords with the same bass often have similar functions in chord progressions, so this is often a useful way of organizing them in your head. The size of the circle and its distance to the center tells you how common a chord is. Chords closer to the center are going to feel more familiar, but chords nearer to the edge of the graph are going to feel less familiar or possibly even more exotic. And finally, over 99% of all chord progressions in the Theory tab database can be found on this chart. So getting yourself familiar with this chart is really a great way to step up your understanding of chord progressions and your music writing in general. The challenge today is to use this chart to create a short piece of music. But there's a twist. Chord progressions that you write need to either move clockwise or counterclockwise along this graph using these slices kind of like little stepping stones. For example, we could do something like C1 to G over B to A minor to G. Or we could do one clockwise, maybe C to D minor to C over E to F. So we're going to take these paths clockwise or counterclockwise, but other than that, musically, you can really take this anywhere you want. All right, good luck, and we'll check back in a couple of days to see what we've all come up with.
Today I'm going to show you how I'm going to build a song using the popular chords in C major chart. So let me pull up the chart and show you which chords I'm going to choose for my song. So the first chord I'm going to choose is A minor, and then I'm going to go to G sus4. And then after that, I think I'll go to E minor. And then for my last chord in the progression, I'm going to go to F over C. So let me show you what it looks like in my DAW. A minor, G sus4, E minor, F over C. And you know what? I'm going to keep my song super simple, and I'm going to stick with those chords. So I just lowered the octave so it could sound a little thicker. Let's add some little melodies on top. So I just basically used G, D, E, and just kept reversing them. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. I'm gonna duplicate this, take it here, and I'm gonna bring it down an octave. I wanna try to add a little guitar that I like. Yeah, I feel like that's fine. Again, don't need to overthink it. Don't need to go crazy. Let's try to arrange this out a little bit. As you can see, I just used those same 4 chords that I picked from the graph, and that's really all I've needed so far. And I'm just creating more interesting things by adding different elements. So every 2 to 4 bars, I'm going to add or take something away, but I'm going to keep those same chords because it is totally fine to use the same 4 chords for the whole song. Some songs only use 2 chords for the whole song, and that's totally fine. So let's try to add some vocals. So I added vocals, messed around a little bit, changed some stuff up, and here is what it all sounds like. So as I mentioned earlier, I really like to keep things simple. Just thought I would try to write something that was relatable to a lot of different people and something quick. I really like this chart to be able to quickly come up with chords and get somewhere to start my song so you don't just feel like you're starting from nowhere. So I'm excited to see what everyone else comes up with, and I hope you like what I came up with.
That was so nice.
I love it, Sabrina, when you sing in your videos. You know, you do a lot of production videos, but I love hearing your voice.
Oh, thank you.
I like the producer dance. I do that too sometimes when you're working on something. You're just like little, but it's not a big dance. It's a little tiny dance just to be like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and like, total disclaimer, I'm so new to producing. I've only been producing for 18 months, so I'm always feeling uncomfortable, especially like playing it for all of you guys that have been doing this for way longer than me. But I really do it because I want to show people that you can just jump into it. Like, you don't have to feel self-conscious. It doesn't have to sound like it's on the radio. Like, it's so much easier than people think it is, and it doesn't have to feel so daunting. I'm really happy of all the stuff you guys are creating, Ryan, so that you can just make it more accessible for people. So it doesn't have to be like this, like 100% perfect thing.
For my take on this challenge, what I'd like to do is to reharmonize or reimagine the chord progression to the theme song to Chord Crush, our ear training app here at Hooktheory. Okay, so let's write a new progression for this. And I want to choose a progression that is going to go clockwise down our chart. I have a feeling that some of the other folks are going to choose the counterclockwise direction, which is in many ways more popular. So let's choose a clockwise or ascending progression. The cool thing about ascending bass lines is it tends to give progressions kind of a lot of momentum or kind of an uplifting feel. So for our progression, let's do something really simple. Let's start on C, best by test, and we were gonna move up the scale, so clockwise along our graph, and I will choose a chord from each slice until we get to F. And F is a nice stopping point because it's a so-called cadence chord, which means that it transitions very nicely back to C. So it allows our progression to repeat. So let's go C, D minor, C over E, and then F. And again, that leads us back nicely to C. Okay, so let's see how this sounds with our melody. So in the Chord Crush theme, this progression would repeat 4 times. So let's do this 3 times, and on the 4th time, let's change it up a bit. And we've gone up from C up to F. Let's finish the way all the way back up to C. So I propose that we go to G, and then to get to C, let's choose A flat, B flat, and then C again. So how did I know that these chords A flat and B flat would transition nicely to C, even though A flat and B flat are not very common chords in the key of C major? What I'm doing is actually a little trick called modal mixture. And this is a concept that essentially asks us to temporarily imagine what it would be like if we were in the key of C minor and not C major. Turns out in the key of C minor, A flat and B flat are super common chords. How often have you heard this? So because of that, when we play this A flat and B flat, our ears are already used to hearing a chord built on C, which is why when we change this to C major, it sounds nice. So let's put this all together. We have C, D, C over E, F. We're gonna do that 3 times. And the last time we're gonna go G, A flat, B flat, C.
That was nice. That ending was really nice.
I don't know, there was such a triumphant uplift at the end there of like melody, melody, melody stuff, and then like superhero chords, and now we're back home. It was super cool.
What's up? It's your girl DAMOYEE, and I was just challenged by Hooktheory to pick 4 chords from this amazing chart that they created, the most popular chords in C major, and to write a song with just those 4 chords. And I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited to get started on this challenge, so let's get to it. So I have the chart pulled up here on my monitor and also on my computer, so that way I can get a better view for myself. But looking at this chart already, I have a ton of options. Major chords, minor chords, major 7 chords, minor 7 chords, diminished chords, inverted chords. Basically, I'm not limited. There's so many options that I can choose from. But given that I am in C major, which I kind of view as the base of music theory, only because when I started studying music theory, it was the first key that I learned. No sharps, no flats, and it was the very first scale that I learned on piano. I'm gonna go for more of an untraditional route, as one could possibly say. So first and foremost, we have to start with C major because that's the key that the song is in. We're gonna work our way to the right and draw a line to E flat major. Then we'll go all the way around. Let's touch A flat major and then end our progression with B flat major, going right back to C. So basically, I just picked all flat chords going to the one and only chord that, again, doesn't have any sharps or flats in its key, and you can just be free with it. Y'all don't even know how excited I am to go ahead and get started on this concept, so let's start laying down some instruments. Okay, so I'm gonna shut off the mic for a little bit because I want you guys to hear this sick drum beat that I came up with that I think I'm gonna use for my concept. So here we go. Fast forward and I added the piano. Then I added some MIDI guitar that'll be replaced with electric guitar. I think I should add bass. With the bass pattern, I think I want to match what's going on with the drums. I'm gonna match the kick pattern so that way everything just kind of lines up nicely. about 2 hours later, I think I have finished everything as far as arrangement. I recorded all the instruments I wanted, all the vocals that I wanted. I went back and I went ahead and wrote some official lyrics to it. So this is the video that I came up with. I hope you guys enjoy it. Once again, thanks to Hooktheory for presenting me with this challenge. I had so much fun writing a song based off of only 4 chords of the most popular chords in C major. So here's the video.
Feel free, only I can imagine. But when you're next to me, I have no need to worry. There's magic in your touch and you're full of love, got me obsessed. No, I can't get enough, I can't get enough, got me obsessed. You make me feel like you make me feel like you make me feel like
That one was really, really cool. I like how you use the melody to form like different chord extensions, where like you kept like really plain with the chords where it is just like an E flat, but there are like a lot of color tones coming from other parts of the melody. That was really, really neat.
At Hooktheory, I listened to a lot of 4-chord progressions, but that one like gave me the chills. It was like, I loved it.
You're so talented. How are you playing all the instruments and everything? It's so impressive.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, coffee freshly made, let's do this. Looking at this chart, I think we have a lot of options, and I think we have a lot of outcasts and weirdos and even some chromatic stuff. So I think we're gonna use that because starting off the 1 or C major would just be too predictable. So maybe we'll go just to the complete opposite end of the wheel here and start off of the B flat, which isn't even in the key. And our goal is going to be to carefully navigate from that through the whole chart and circle our way all the way back around to home base. One of my favorite tricks when it comes to writing music is utilizing parallel keys and parallel modes. Now, this sounds really crazy and advanced, but it's not at all. Trust me, don't tell them I told you that. Basically, all you need to know to utilize this trick is your major scale and your minor scale. I'm sure we all know the C major scale, it's just all the white notes. And if we play our C natural minor scale, we now know our parallel key. And what we can do is borrow chords from one or the other. So if we're playing in major, we could borrow some stuff from minor. Okay, after a little bit of noodling here, I think I've come up with something I'm happy with. So what I've got is going from B flat major to A flat major to F major, pop over to F minor for a second, go down to an E flat major, D flat major, and finally, boom, back home we go. And I think that's really interesting because especially in that last transition, I mean, we've got this really crazy dissonant if we play it over C major, like, but it resolves really nicely. So that's what we're gonna utilize here. All right, and with the power of a bit of Hollywood magic, we're back and the track is now done. So I made this track using only free plugins, free synthesizers, free sample libraries. I mixed it using stock stuff in the DAW and other free effects plugins, and all of the samples are sounds I just made myself, so that also cost me nothing. Let's give it a spin and take a listen to the final result here.
Wow. I'm like speechless. That was so good.
This went through like 83 billion iterations because like, the rule was clockwise or counterclockwise. So of course I was just trying to like flip the rules of like, okay, but I'm going to like tweak over here for a second. So it was hard to kind of make sense of like, I want to work through all of the weirdest chords I can. But yeah, I had to scrap like 12 versions of this idea to get to this where it actually followed the rule of the challenge. The only one I sort of broke, I think, was the F major to F minor.
That's fine.
But like, yeah, it was in that green.
They made like a little butterfly shape.
Actually, I had the chart on my phone and I was kind of tracing it with my finger the first couple times I went through this, and I was like, nope, that goes the wrong way. And then, yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of fun though. It was kind of a cool way just to be like, okay, what's like the weirdest way I can use this chart?
Yeah, well, I love how everyone took this like a slightly different direction. I thought that everyone's piece of music was really awesome in its own way.
Seids arrangements games on a whole other level though. Just like, I love though, songs can use 4 chords, it's fine, and it's like, okay, fine.
Well, to be fair, I had a hunch that you guys were going to be way more complex than mine. And I was like, I think I should go for that and showcase that, because it's not always about like what is the most complex. It doesn't have to be. I
definitely have, this weakness where I'm always grasping at like more and more harmony. It's almost harder when you use less. It forces you to make your song more interesting. And I thought you did a really great job with your instrumentation and your layering. That's such an important skill.
Everybody ran with their strengths. Like DAMOYEE is a multi-instrumentalist, and she comes up with these really interesting kind of like soulful vibes, and it's so great that she like leads with that. And Venus Theory,
I don't know what I did.
It matches your personality, like you built all that stuff yourself, which is so impressive. And Ryan, he's a great piano player. I'm so glad you did that.
So much of music, and especially theory, feels almost like it's purpose built to get in the way of you actually understanding and utilizing this stuff. But something like this chart makes it really easy to explore like so many different facets of it without necessarily needing to put a name to what you're doing. It's a really nice way to look at things rather than having to think in terms of like modes or like modulation or whatever. And it was refreshing to be able to just, get more of like a bird's eye view of like music and not necessarily think of it in such like a linear path.
Yeah, and I want to build off of that because I think just this challenge in general just kind of showed that there's no proper way to do it, because we've all like took this chart and we've made our own way to arrange it. I just appreciate and just love how everybody like had their own spin on it. Goes to show, like, again, there's no right way to do it. Music is music, Let's all have fun with it.
Sometimes it'll be a dumpster fire, but like that's okay. You just don't release that one.
That's why we do it, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel about the constraint on this? Personally, sometimes having a constraint like kind of gets my mind in like a certain direction, which can sometimes help my creative process.
I think it was really helpful. Personally, I think it's really good for beginners too.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing for like, writer's block or something to some degree. I feel like constraints and rules is really the only way I get anything done, because otherwise like it's way too easy to get lost like tweaking and playing with things, or just like if you're newer, you just might not know like where to go. You're just like, I want to write a song, but like now what?
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. I want to thank again the amazing artists that took part in this collaboration. It was super fun to see everyone's unique take on this challenge and also to participate myself. If you'd like to learn more about these artists, please check the links in the description below, and please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. Thanks for watching.